Welcome to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show, a real estate investment program. Listen and learn how to use real estate to build wealth and passive income streams for you and your family. We bring you experts every day to discuss and answer your questions on everything from single-family homes all the way up to 600-plus unit apartment complexes. And now, the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Hey folks, today we are talking about increasing a net worth by 4 times and retiring from corporate America, not in 5 years. We talk about 5 years or less. We're talking about retiring from corporate America in 4 years. I'm your host, David Ruzicka. You're listening to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. And today I'm with Cliff and Kathy Colwell from Corpus Christi, and we're going to hear their story. And we are working on your financial freedom. And so, guys, I want each of you, first of all, just tell us, introduce yourself to our audience, who you are apart from real estate, where you grew up, education, whatever you want to say about yourself. Kathy, why don't you start us off?
Oh, hi. My name's Kathy Colwell. We live in the Corpus Christi area. I was born in Corpus, lived here my whole life, and we've been doing some real estate investing here in the Corpus area and really enjoying it.
That's good. Good. And Cliff?
Yeah, my name is Cliff Colwell. I also was born and raised in Corpus Christi. I've been working in refineries for the last 25 years, and we discovered real estate investing in 2017 through a coworker of mine, and we've been full steam ahead ever since.
That's great. That is great. Hey, so tell me, before you discovered real estate, before you discovered Lifestyles Unlimited, what was your end game? When was retirement going to happen for you?
I think when I die.
When you die. That was really your plan, was work till you die.
Yeah, work till you die. Save what you can, maximize your 401k, and just continue working. I kind of had mentally prepared myself that, I'm going to just keep doing something, stay busy, and work, and never really saw myself with the ability to retire.
Yeah, you kind of you told me the other day you kind of gave yourself some happy talk to make that seem like it was okay to work until you died.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So you said you discovered Lifestyles Unlimited through a coworker. Had you ever thought about real estate before that, or was that kind of your first introduction to thinking about investing in real estate?
I had thought about it in the past, and I'd read a few books about it, but then I would see other people owning rental homes and maybe some of the nightmares that they were dealing with, and I decided, man, maybe that's not the right thing for me to do. But then once we got plugged into Lifestyles, and we discovered that most of those people are probably doing it wrong. They're not vetting the right people. They're not setting up their rental properties correctly. That's why they are having a nightmare time.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I hear that so many times. I mean, that was even actually my own experience. And so you went to the 2-day Financial Freedom Seminar. And Kathy, what did you feel before you went to the seminar about lifestyles?
So I really felt like it was a Ponzi scheme. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. And my poor husband at the time, or boyfriend at the time, we're married now, was trying to get me to listen to podcasts and do this. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. It's a Ponzi scheme. I don't want to have anything to do with it. I sold Mary Kay at one time in my life. I'm good. I don't need to do that again. So that was exactly how I felt about Lifestyles. I just absolutely wasn't going to have anything to do with it.
And how did you feel about the 8 to 5 on the Saturday and Sunday?
Oh, so he tells me one day, like a Thursday, hey, by the way, we've got, I paid for the 2-day, and we're going to this 2-day thing, and we leave Friday night. I was like, okay. So what does that mean? He says, 8 to 5 on Saturday and Sunday. I said, nope, not going to do it. He's like, what do you mean? I said, I don't, they pay me to be at work at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I don't get there till 10. And they pay me to work till 5, and I leave at 4, and you want me to do this on a Saturday, and I'm paying them. Like,
yeah, it's not even a volunteer basis. Yeah, you're actually paying them money so you can do something you don't do when you get paid. So you got there, and let's continue with you a little bit, Kathy, because Cliff was he was the guy who was saying, hey, this is a good deal, and you're the skeptic. As you sat through that, the Saturday portion is about single family, the Sunday portion is about multifamily. It's how to locate, negotiate, finance, rehab, lease, and manage. And so as you're sitting there, what happened in your mindset?
So, I mean, I get there, I'm upset, but I'm going to sit through this thing with him anyway. About 2 hours into it, I'm like elbowing him going, how much does this cost and where do we sign up? Like, this all makes sense. I'm ready. So let's get this going. I was on board. I've been on board 100% ever since, without a doubt, and it's been the best thing.
That's great. That's great. And David Fisher was the one that did the 2-day for you guys, correct?
Yes, absolutely. He was wonderful.
Good deal. And Cliff, as you went through the 2-day, what were the big aha moments for you? I mean, obviously you were already a little more down the road, but what were the big things that stood out to you as you sat through those 2 days of education?
So when I was told about Lifestyles, my buddy Sean Rogers introduced me to it, and he kind of blew all the aha moments. We were sitting in a truck driving to lunch, and he told me about the cash-out refinance on the multifamily deals and how the valuations of increasing rent can change the dynamics of the value of the property. And I was blown away. I was sold right then and there. And then when I went to the 2-day and listened to David Fisher teach on single family and then on multifamily, I was ready. The biggest aha moment for me was the cash out refinance on a multifamily deal and pulling all your money back out, still owning the property or still owning the amount of shares that you bought into and still cash flowing, and then buying another one with the refi funds.
Yeah, and folks, so what he's talking about is with multifamily, you can force a property to appreciate. You can't do that with single family. It's valued based on a comparative market analysis. It's worth what the average price of homes in your neighborhood is worth. With multifamily, you can do things to it to make it appreciate, increase the net operating income, and then you can refinance the property. You can pull money out when you refi it. It's a loan, so you don't pay taxes on it. And you can do whatever you want to do with that money. And exactly what Cliff is talking about. You can go out and buy another property and increase your pace at which you approach complete financial freedom. Folks, stay with us. We're with Cliff and Kathy Colwell. They got into their first passive deal within 3 months after joining Lifestyles Unlimited and retired from corporate America in 4 years. We are working on your financial freedom.
Welcome back to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Now, let's get back to your map to financial freedom.
Hey, folks, we are talking to Cliff and Kathy Colwell. They got into their first passive deal within 3 months after joining Lifestyles Unlimited, retired from corporate America in 4 years. I'm your host, David Ruzicka. You're listening to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. And right before the break, we got to the point where they actually joined Lifestyles Unlimited. They went to the 2-day, which was very painful for Kathy because she had to go from 8 to 5 on Saturday and Sunday, but she was pedal to the metal after that. And so you guys joined. You went to. We have something called for the preferred members, the multifamily people who are interested in investing in multifamily, something called an educational road show and an acquisition road trip, and that is where our mentors actually walk you through a property first. Walk through the numbers, and then in many cases actually go to the properties and walk through the properties, seeing the properties in person. And they're properties that other members own in a lot of cases. And so you guys, how did you get into your first passive deal? And Cliff, tell us about that. Tell us how, I think you said you went to one of the road shows, and that's where that happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we went to one of the road shows, and we got to networking with some of the other investors there, and we met Lisa Smith. And she shared with us a property that she was under contract on, and then I was on her list. We talked more about it after we got home from the road show, contacted Lisa, talked to her about it some more, and then we jumped into that deal. At first, I was going to do like a $25,000 insertion, and then the more I talked to her, the more money I put into the deal, and I'm so thankful I did because that deal refinanced maybe a year later, and I pulled almost all of my money back out of that deal. We still own it. We still own it to today. It's still cash flowing, and it's up for sale, and we're looking at making about 160% gain on our investment.
Oh, my goodness. Now, is that Lisa and Chad?
Yeah. Yes. They were on the show on December 11th, yeah. So.
Yeah, they were. That's what I was going to say. I thought that's who you were talking about. That's amazing. So when is the last time you bought a stock and then you pulled all your money out of the stock and you still own the stock and it was paying you cash flow? Have you ever done that before?
I am still waiting for that event to happen, but I don't own any stock right now. I own nothing but real estate.
That's a good move. What about you, Kathy? Yeah. And I didn't actually ask you this, Kathy. Before Lifestyles, what was your retirement plan? Were you invested in the stock market, IRA, 401k, anything like that?
Yes, I had a 401k and I had a Roth IRA, and that was about it. I was a single mom with 2 little boys at the time, and to be honest, it just wasn't a plan. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was too busy, trying to live life and get the boys fed. Thank you a lot. And then, but yeah, so basically I just wasn't going to worry about it until the kids got older. And I mean, my youngest son is still in high school, so I still would not be thinking about it right now because I'd just be trying to get through. But Lifestyles has just changed all that for us.
That is an amazing, incredible change from not thinking about it all to the point that you're like, okay, we're done. We've got everything covered.
Yeah.
Do you still have the 401k?
Oh, no. Okay, I cashed it all in. I've cashed it all. I even sold my house that we owned. And, yeah.
Right now there are people that are having vapors because you just said that. You cashed in your 401k. I mean, that's your security blanket. That's the thing that lets you sleep well at night. And you cashed it
my
in.
My finance planner.
Yeah. And so instead, you were able to increase your net worth by 4 times. I guess that's a good trade. I guess so.
I'll have to settle for that.
I'm being silly. So you went from there. You're a passive investor, which folks that are listening, if you're not quite sure what I'm talking about, Lisa and Chad Smith, they are lead investors. They found an apartment deal and they raise money from other Lifestyles members. Lifestyles doesn't own the property. They own the property with other Lifestyles members. And so you guys were passive investors. You put money into the deal and still own it today. You've taken out all the money you put in and it's still cash flowing to you. And so you went from that to becoming what is called an IRO, an independent rental owner. That means you own an apartment complex yourself. Tell us about that very first deal.
So we met with our mentor because we wanted to be lead investors. He instructed us, I'd rather you buy a small apartment complex and learn the nuts and bolts of how to run a property yourself. So that's exactly what we did. I went on the internet and there was an 8-unit apartment complex for sale. It was really run down, had poor management. We ran the numbers with our mentor and decided to purchase it. The day we purchased it, that was the day Kathy retired. It didn't quite replace her income, but it supplied us with enough money to partially replace her income. And that way we could dive in and she could learn how to do the operation side of the property. She worked very close with Teresa Harrell on probably a daily basis the first, I'd say, 4 to 6 months of owning that property, just to learn how to do the leases and screening and everything you need to do on a day-to-day basis.
Now, hold on just a second. I need to ask you some really important questions about this whole process. First of all, was your mentor, was that Robert?
At the time, it was Kim McLean.
Okay, Kim McLean. Yeah. So how much of this deal? So he gave you some really good advice. Said go and buy your own deal first, run that, learn how to do it. How much money did you have to pay him for that advice?
Nothing.
How much of the deal did he get?
Nothing.
Nothing. That's all part of your membership. No. He did all that, and he did he walk the property with you beforehand? Helped you do your due diligence on the property?
No, he actually didn't walk that property because we lived so far away from him. But he got on the computer with me, and we ran the numbers together. I sent photos of everything. He looked at everything. We stress tested the property on paper. Looked like a good deal, so we went ahead and just moved forward with it. We did have some other Lifestyles members come down and help us walk the property before we actually purchased it. So we had full support of Lifestyles Unlimited during the process up until purchase, and then beyond the purchase on the operation side.
Yeah, so on the operations side, you mentioned Teresa Harrell. She is a operations consultant, which means somebody who knows how to run the business. And how much did you How much of this deal did she get on that? And how much did you pay her hourly for her time?
I didn't pay her anything hourly, and she earned every penny Lifestyles pays for her because we utilized her a lot.
A lot, yeah. That's tremendous.
Yeah.
And folks, as you're listening, folks, I know there are a lot of people out there. They try to mom and pop this. They go and they buy a unit. They buy an apartment complex. They don't have anybody to talk to. They don't have anybody to help them out. If they do, they've got a buddy, and they're buying their buddy's time. They're paying, or they're not buying it, but they're leaning on their buddy who has their own job. They're doing their own thing, and yet Lifestyles has these people that are committed to making our members successful. And it's not just Bob or Joe off the street. These are people who are seasoned real estate investors who are successful at what they're doing. And that's why we have Lifestyles members who are successful. Yeah. Tell us just quick numbers, about 10 seconds. What are your returns on that 8-unit deal?
So I just transferred the leases this morning to the new owner. I closed on it 2 days ago.
Hold right there. I'm gonna make people wait till the other side of the break because we're right at the break.
Okay.
We're talking to Cliff and Kathy Colwell, and you want to hear about this property. You are working on your financial freedom.
Listening to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show will change your life. We will teach you how to create wealth and passive income so you can be financially free. And now, back to your host.
Hey, folks, I'm your host, David Ruzicka, and you're listening to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. I'm with Cliff and Kathy Colwell, and just tremendous investors, and I love this, with no experience at all. They went out and bought their first, they got into a passive deal, then they went out and bought their first 8-unit apartment deal, had tremendous support and help, as they talked about right before the break, with this deal. So, they wouldn't have to learn from their mistakes. Instead, they learn from other people's success, which is very important with Lifestyles Unlimited. And so right before we went to the break, Cliff was telling us the results of that deal. First of all, Cliff, how long were you guys members of Lifestyles when you bought that 8-unit deal?
Roughly a year and a half.
So
we
year
joined
and a half.
in December. Yeah, we joined in December of 2017, and we purchased this 8-unit in June of 2019.
2019, okay. And then tell us the results of that investment.
So we've held it 2.5 years. I had a buyer. I didn't market the property. I had a buyer. A broker called me with a buyer. The guy shot me an offer. It was an offer I couldn't refuse. And to give you an idea of the numbers, we injected $128,000 into the property when we bought it, and we're being written a check today for $304,000. So
oh my goodness,
really fantastic return on this property
in 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
And let's just jump back a little bit to the previous conversation. Kathy, you still have a kid in high school?
Yes.
So if you had not discovered Lifestyles, you would still be just living month to month, paycheck to paycheck, trying to make ends meet. And you would plan for retirement someday in the future. But instead, retirement happened when you guys acquired this property. And then here, in a short amount of time, you have doubled your money on this property. Did I get all that exactly right? Or
yes, you
right?
got it exactly right, except that I was working like 60 to 70 hours a week.
Oh, my goodness. 60 to 70 hours a week. That's insane. With 2 kids.
With 2 kids, right.
So let's just jump ahead real quick. What is your lifestyle now, Kathy, with your kids and just with your time in general?
You know, for the first time, I can actually know that I'll be able to go to my son's football games every time he has one. And, you know, my older children, I had to miss those things with them as they were going through school because I had to be dedicated to my job to, you know, pay the bills and make ends meet. As a single parent, that's what we have to do. So
yeah.
I'm fortunate now. If he calls me and needs lunch, I can just drive up to the school and drop it off.
That's tremendous. You bought back your time. That's what we talk about at Lifestyles a lot. You bought back your time. And what
Absolutely.
a great testimony. So you got that first deal. What were your next investments? You did a couple more passive deals. Did I have that correct?
So when we purchased the 8-unit, we had a little bit of money left over, and Lisa had another property that she was going under contract on, and we went up and helped her walk and do due diligence on it. And I took another chunk of money and then I invested it with her, and she actually just sold the property, and we're getting funded for it today for in the neighborhood of 145% return on that investment. And so we're going to have capital coming back at us right now that we're going to redeploy early next year into either passive or most likely more lead deals.
And two things I want to highlight out of what you just said. One is you went out and you helped Lisa do due diligence. You didn't get paid for that. That was just something that you do. That's what Lifestyles members do. It's a community of investors that help each other out. And obviously it pays off. You got 145% return. The other thing I want to point out is that Lisa, if you go back, you can go back, folks listening, you can go online and you can hear from a couple weeks ago. Lisa is someone who was a school teacher who had no real estate experience and became just an incredible lead investor who brings these kind of deals to her members, to her investors, and gives great returns with that. She also made her husband sell all of his hunting toys so that they could get started. She said, we can buy them all back later. And they were able to buy them all back later because she is a great real estate investor. She and her husband both are. So really important points there. And so then you decided to move up to a 36 unit. And
yes,
first of all, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to highlight that. We purchased a 36 unit last year in December of 2020 in the height of COVID. We found the deal in September of 2020. We got our mentors involved. We walked the property a few times. We did our due diligence, and we purchased it. We've owned it for 12 months now, David.
And why were you not afraid? Why were you willing to buy something? Why were you even looking at September of 2020? Because I will tell you, because I teach the free workshop, I talk to a lot of people who are thinking about getting into real estate. And I mean, last year, even today, people are like, I'll kind of wait and see what happens with COVID. I'm a little bit scared about that right now. Why did you have the confidence to begin looking for a deal in September of last year?
I just saw the market still being strong, and I still think people need a place to live. And the residents we've had in the last year and on the 8 unit, they kept paying their rent. And there was a couple people that had some struggles, but we worked with them to keep them in their homes. And they eventually all paid, and there was never any issues.
Yeah, you mentioned something yesterday when we were talking. You or Kathy did. I can't remember which one, but you said, what is your goal with your residents?
Our goal is to provide them a nice, clean, functional home, something that they enjoy living at. And our goal is to work with them and keep them in their homes.
You want them in their home.
We want them to live there.
Yeah, you get the idea if you listen to the news that the purpose of a landlord is just to make people's life miserable and evict them. And that's actually not true at all. You do want to keep the residents there. You don't want to evict them. So you bought this property, this 36 unit. Tell me a little bit about the property. Was it a Class A property, nice and clean and shiny when you first looked at it? What kind of condition was it in?
It was another property that was just like the recipe that David Fisher talks about in the 2-day. It was run down. It had really bad management. They had a unit being used as a storage unit. They had another unit they were giving away free to the maintenance guy who did no maintenance. And when we took over, the maintenance guy disappeared. We never saw him. So we had 2 units right away to renovate. So immediately we started ordering materials. We got our staff involved, got them in those units. We had those renovated and rented within about 30 days. And then through the course of the last year, we've renovated 21 units. We do full paint, full floor. All the light fixtures, new appliance package. If the AC's broke, we fix it or replace it. So when a person moves in, they've got a clean, functional place that has hot water and cold air. And that's really what people are looking for, is just something that works And then on the backside, they want somebody to come fix a problem if they have it. So we provide that value to the residents, and then they're willing to pay more rent.
Now, you've cleaned up the story a little bit. I need you to make it a little more sexy. You told me the property's a rough area. You had leaks all over the place. Their stove didn't work. Their microwave didn't work. They couldn't keep food cold. They couldn't cook it when they put it on the stove. They never got any. The only time the previous landlord showed up was to collect the rent. Other than that, he wasn't there. And I think you said he just ran out of capital. And so it's like, I'll collect the rent and then leave, and I'm hiding out from the folks. It was a disaster when you got it.
It was a disaster. It was a disaster. The previous landlord was mean. I didn't even like her.
Mean? She had to be mean. I mean, how are you going to collect rent from people when their stove doesn't work and their refrigerator doesn't work? Hey, hang on there. We want to hear about the returns on this property on the other side of the break. We're talking with Cliff and Kathy Colwell. You're listening to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. And remember, it's not the money, it's the lifestyle.
Welcome back to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. It's time to turn up the volume and fine-tune your passive income plan so you can create the lifestyle you've always wanted.
Hey, folks, this is your host, David Ruzicka, with the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show, and we are talking to Cliff and Kathy Colwell. I want to remind you, they got their first passive deal in 3 months. They retired from corporate America in 4 years. They bought a property during COVID. They increased the value. I'm going to give away a little bit of it. They increased the value almost 100% in 1 year. And the property, we were talking about it right before the break. It's a 36 unit, scary property, rough area, trash everywhere, leaks in units, several units with zero income. When you hear someone say they were using a unit as storage, that's a bad idea. You don't want to use a unit as storage. That's a revenue producing unit that's going to increase your NOI and increase your equity. They had a maintenance guy that was living in one unit for free, disappeared after they got the place. Something else, you had drug dealers on the property. The question I wanted to ask is, how in the world, why would you buy such a horrible piece of property? I mean, you guys are, what, a year and a half into being members of Life? Yeah. You're a year and a half into being real estate investors, and this is the property you bought. Why?
Well, we had some experience from the 8 units, so that helped us with the 36 unit. Then we had Robert Hell, who was my mentor on the 36 unit. He came and walked the property with me. We walked it several times before buying it. We ran the numbers multiple times, looked at it. The fundamentals were there. So we decided to move forward with it. It did have its challenges, but they weren't challenges that we couldn't overcome. So it took us about 6 months to clean the property up, get rid of the purple Martians, which we had a few. We got rid of all the illegal business activities that occur at nighttime by putting up lights and cameras, and it just working the process with Robert and putting in the infrastructure around the buildings just made it easy. We did have to evict somebody. I think we evicted 1 or 2 people. They thought they would win in court, but they didn't. So we were able to get rid of those people. And when we got rid of those 1 or 2 bad people that we had there that were problems, all the other residents were extremely grateful that they were gone, because they weren't starting up their loud cars in the middle of the night. There's not people riding bicycles and backpacks. Just really cleaned up the area. And it cleaned it up so much, David, that the housing authority took note of the renovations around the property, that they bought 6 lots that were vacant behind one of our buildings, and they're building brand new affordable homes for people. So not only is our property coming up in value, the properties behind us are coming up. So, when people see success, they want to duplicate that and be close by.
Yeah, and you really can't. This isn't just happy talk, but it is a true fact that when a Lifestyles member buys an apartment community, especially one that is a Class C, Class D, maybe even in this case, and they clean the property up, they make life better for everybody, for the people in the community, for the people that are living there. I mean, you imagine living there. Maybe you got a little kid, and there's some guy, starting his car up in the middle of the night, really loud. He's doing pharmaceutical sales in the parking lot after hours. Not the kind of pharmaceutical sales that you want going on, but they go on at Walgreens, but those kind of, backdoor kind of deals, whatever you call it. I don't know. Yeah. And anyway, and so you've got all that stuff going on, and all of a sudden it becomes a better property, and people want to have a safe, clean place to live. They want a home, just like you or me want a home that is a safe place to live. And so great job on doing that, to the point that the Corpus Christi Housing Authority noticed that and said, okay, this is a good place to invest. We're going to buy the property behind this property. And again, I just need to ask you, Robert Hale walked the property with you a couple times. How much of this deal did he get, and what did you pay him?
No, I didn't pay him anything. He came for free, walked it with me, spent a lot of time with me for free, running the numbers, looking at my rehab budget, making sure it all made sense, looked at my plan, and gave me the thumbs up that this is something that we should go after, and we did. And let me give you an idea of the numbers on the property. We purchased at 1.65. It was ourselves with about 20 other families. I have investors anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000. And in 1 year's time, I've got broker price opinions around the 2.85 value, 2.85 to $3 million value. So we've taken it from 165 to conservatively 285 in 12 months.
In 12 months, that is tremendous.
But there's more, David. But there's more. I got to tell you something else about this property. This property won the Outstanding Renovated Property of the Year award in Corpus Christi for 2021. So we beat out 5 other properties, and the other 5 properties were big apartment complexes around town.
Yeah, that's tremendous. That's amazing. And folks, as you're listening, you hear that and you say, "Wow, that's kind of a big deal." It is a big deal. It's a huge deal.
It is a big deal.
But what you also find out is in communities all around America, you'll have those kind of things happen, and it'll be Lifestyles members, because we teach people how to do that, how to do the rehab right, how to run the property right, correctly. And so great job. And you guys are also nominated on one of the properties for the Texas Apartment Association.
Yes, we're nominated for the Texas Apartment Association Independent Rental Owner of the Year. Somebody nominated us for that, so we're really excited about that.
Yeah, and again, folks, as you're listening, you're saying, "Oh, wow, an award, that's neat." That's a big deal. You see, having a good mentor can help you to be successful. Not only that, it can save you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in mistakes, in missed opportunities, in profitability. Having the right mentor, having somebody that is there that has experience, and operations consultants can do that for you, that makes all the difference in the world. Great job on that. And I want to tell you something else about Lifestyles and about this couple. So I've got a property with David Fisher in Corpus Christi. There was the Valentine's Day freeze last year. And on Saturday, before the freeze, one of the tenants called, one of the residents called and said, "Hey, the toilet's backed up. Water, it's not going anywhere. I need help." Well, the next day it froze. So it was like 5 days before I couldn't get a plumber. I couldn't even get a plumber on the phone. And so Cliff and Kathy went out there with their maintenance lady, with their crew. Kathy, what did Cliff do?
I sat in the car because I knew better. And he went inside to help our maintenance lady with the toilet, and he came out pretty green, and he was gagging, and he decided he too was going to sit in the car.
Yeah. And I only tell that because I was talking to Kathy.
Talk about this, David.
Yeah, I didn't tell that because Kathy was on the phone just dying laughing, telling me about it. She couldn't stop laughing. She was laughing so hard. But again, how much did I pay you guys to do that?
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. In fact, I made fun of you on the radio right now for doing it. But I apologize for that. But no, that's Lifestyles. That's the Lifestyles community, is you help people. And so, I would do the same thing for them. I've done the same thing for David Fisher and for Robert Hale. And so we're a community of like-minded, successful individuals working together and becoming profitable and sharing, because we have that abundance mentality, which is what Dell really put in the DNA of Lifestyles Unlimited at the very beginning. He said, I'm going to open my books. I'm going to show you how to be successful. All I ask of you, and I'm going to help you be successful, all I ask of you is that when you're successful, you do the exact same thing. And Kathy and Cliff are doing that right now with their investing and with the way they run their business. And I love what you said. You said we only evict bad people. We work with people. The goal is to keep people. Tell me what your short-term goals are.
Our short-term goal is to get into lead deal number 2 and 3 in 2022 and just replicate what we've been doing. It's a very easy map to follow, but you have to learn it first from Lifestyles and just rinse and repeat.
And you have another short-term goal coming up here in a couple months. What is that, Cliff? Kathy already did hers. She retired a while back.
Yeah, well, I haven't quite fully retired from my W-2 job yet, but I'm contemplating how to do that right now because as of today, my options have changed for me. So whether I keep my W-2 job another 30 days or 6 months is kind of where I'm at. I think that I looked at the schedule they put me on the next 30 to 45 days, and it's not really going to work out very well with my real estate investing. I'm probably going to retire.
You sound excited.
I think I've beat the system by like 17 years. So pretty exciting.
That is pretty exciting. That is huge. That is huge. And I like, Robert Hale said, I kept working after I was able to replace my W-2 income. It's a lot more fun to go to work when you don't have to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, we're at the end of the show, but Kathy, there was one thing you said to people that are listening, should they get started. Do you remember what the phrase was?
Get started now. You're wasting time.
You said, hurry up, you're wasting time. Hey, we're working on your financial freedom.
Del Walmsley on how to live the lifestyle.
I remember a preacher one time, he took over a church. He started giving a sermon, and everybody applauded the sermon, thought it was really good. They congratulated him, but that's really a good sermon. Then the next Sunday, he gave the same sermon again. And they go, yeah, that's a really good sermon. And then the third week, he gave the same sermon again. Finally, the church elders pulled him aside one day and said, hey, do you realize you're giving the same sermon every day? You haven't changed it up in 3 weeks now. And he looks at them and says, yeah, and I'm going to keep giving it until you guys get it. That's the way I feel sometimes. I feel like I've been giving the same sermon for 26 years. And some of you get it, and bless your hearts and souls. Man, I'll tell you, like last night I spent some time with people. There's some great members of Lifestyles. I love them. And the accomplishments that they've made are incredible.
Remember, it's not the money, it's the lifestyle. Thanks for being with us today, guys.
The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.